Why were they so interested in the DNA of extraterrestrials and the DNA of humans that may contain extraterrestrials for maybe enhancements? I don't know.
There's a cognizance, I believe, within the intelligence community, particularly CIA, that there are humans among us that might be more extraterrestrial than human. And how do you identify them? That could be a major factor in why they were interested in that. And there's also the, I guess you would call contact tracing of like who's who.
Right.
And so what they did reveal that there was an interest in certain families.
How would you understand families?
I understand families to mean bloodlines.
Right.
That they were interested in certain bloodlines, going back to
ancient times. Yeah.
Who knows, ancient times.
Did they mention other heritages around the planet that through this marker?
I was specifically told that the Cherokee heritage, the Cherokee Nation, had something to do with the phenomenon. And furthermore, that it has something to do with perhaps even the actual existence of Atlantis, that they may have been survivors of Atlantis. But then I can't prove that. I can't divulge a source. I was told by a very credible source.
And what was their take on Atlantis, since we're speaking about it?
I believe that their take is it's an actual, and it's not myth and legend, it's an actual place.
Do they know where it's at?
No.
No.
I don't know where it's at, and they didn't tell me where it's at.
But what would give them that idea that the Cherokee heritage is connected to the Atlantean time, unless they had some sort of DNA to compare it to from Atlantis?
I think because that there's a preponderance of people in the intelligence community and in the military community, especially special operators, who've had these experiences, and when they examine these people and start questioning them about their background, about their family heritages, that it was a preponderance of Cherokee heritage associated with not only having these experiences, but with having implants.
So the suggestion of implants means it's possibly currently ongoing.
Yes, it is, because implants have been recovered from people, not just those who are in the military or intelligence community, but from others.
Well, being in this meeting, John, and listening to the biology and all the tech being, presented to you, and you going through this experience already, your whole life of, these different experiences with ET intelligence, what was going through your mind? What was your emotion?
My feeling was that this was why I had those experiences to begin with. That perhaps I was taken, and I never used the word abducted because I wanted to be taken. I was only disappointed when they brought me back. But perhaps this is why I was taken, that I may have had this lineage in my own family history. What is that purpose? And I didn't know for many, many years. In fact, it wasn't until 2020 that I knew what I was supposed to do.
And what is that?
And that is to do exactly what I'm doing now with you.
Gotcha.
Is to share my story and to share my experiences with others who may have had similar experiences. And so on July of 2020, was my birthday, there was a CE6 global session, and it was called Harmonic Convergence 2020. My wife and I participated in this global CE6 session, and I just looked up and didn't see anything for a while. And all of a sudden I saw this bright orb. It was a white, bright orb right in front of me over the mountains. And we were only like 2.5 to 3 miles away from the mountains. So it's above those mountains. My wife saw something simultaneously, but she says, it's over to my right. I said, no, it's right ahead. She was sitting on my right. She should have seen it on her left. But she saw it all the way to her right. And so I looked up, and then the message came to me. And the message was, there are things that you've learned, and it's time for you to share what you know. And that was in reference to their existence, the reality of their existence, and what I learned through my work at CIA. It's time for you to share.
And sharing meaning all the stuff that you've worked with the CIA, or the exposure to, the beings and these visions?
The work was what exposure I had to the reality that there are craft, they're real, and there are beings in these craft. They're here for a purpose, for a reason. And that reason is not so much to warn us of impending doom or anything like that, but to remind us that we're stewards of this planet and that we're doing a terrible job of that.
Do you believe we inherited the planet, or do you believe there was extraterrestrials here way before us that started this?
Well, to answer your question, I believe we are also extraterrestrials. I think we were brought here and that we forgot our origins, and that some of the beings that are being encountered by humans today have been here a long, long time. And they may have had some input into how we developed, and that they have our best interests in mind, but they're concerned about the stewardship of the planet, that we are doing a terrible job of taking care of their planet and our planet, and that when we explode nuclear weapons in our atmosphere like we did decades ago, it not only affected us, it affected them as well. And so that's why they're so interested in us, especially after what we call the nuclear age dawned upon us, that we now have the means to destroy ourselves.
Right.
And by destroying ourselves, we're also destroying them. I think we're their children. And that they have, like a concerned parent, they want us to grow up, but they're giving us enough leeway to become cosmic adults, if you will. And that once we become cosmic adults, we can then join them in the full knowledge of our true origins and why we're here and what our purpose is. And perhaps we can then join them in becoming a spacefaring planet with them.